Hello and welcome back. Today in this video, I'm going to show off a little bit of the texture pack that I use. It's a texture pack that was actually created by previous Minecrafters, and I do have the credits to them in both the description of this video and also on the download page. But there's been a lot that I've added to it because the pack was last updated years ago, and I needed a newer version for the updated versions of Minecraft. The most dramatic thing that I've added has been these paintings. Most of them are actual oil paintings that I've put at a higher resolution than the rest of the texture pack, actually, so that we can have a little bit more detail. A lot of these are nice, classic, famous paintings. There are a couple of little funny things in, but we also have a few architectural elements. Uh, it, these two reliefs are actually left over from when this was an ancient Roman texture pack. I just really liked them. We also have pediments over doorways. We have a nice, good mix of paintings without going too crazy into different directions. And as we get to some of the larger paintings, some of these are some of my favorite paintings, especially the demonstration of the air pump. That one I was glad to include. We had the L'Orient blowing up at the Battle of the Nile. Now, as far as other decorative elements go, when we have the pots here, I put in all of these textures. A lot of them are variations of the Jasperware texture that I had come up with for architectural elements. We have one where I tried to actually copy a Ming Dynasty vase onto the image. And then we have a few Delft blue ones. So those are all ones that I've added in. And if we take a look at the different colors of items, well, for shelves, most of these also I have for architectural use, mostly for capitals on either columns or pilasters. Now, the color scheme doesn't exactly follow the real colors. A lot of these were inherited from the Roman texture pack. A lot of them I've put in. Most recently, I had to retexture the beds because those have changed from being entities to models. A lot of these were just textures that I never really used very often, and I needed something um, just to plug in, most notably with these other pediment designs. Some of them with the stained glass. What would I categorize some of these stained glass images as? Here are a couple others that were originally in the Roman texture pack. Some of the Roman original textures are very obvious. Some of them not always quite as obvious. I have used the existing Corinthian capital texture as a baseline for future ones that I would do by hand, pixel by pixel. You can see the use of concrete with one half of a pediment. If I need something just on one side, like an exterior wall, then I can go ahead and do that. Similar kind of thing with these wood panels. The glazed terracotta pieces only work for one side, but that's fine if it's a large enough wall that on the opposite side I can have wallpaper, or it's an exterior wall, something like that. You can see that for the Deepslate ores, I just did what I wanted to. Uh, this is where the texture pack turned a little bit away from being perfectly fine for survival use to being mostly for creative mode. I don't necessarily think that it causes too much of a disruption, though, when you're actually down looking at Deepslate and you see these ores. Uh, it is slightly distracting that you have this texture on the side, but it does make it a little bit easier to spot. and it never generates close enough to the surface to matter to me. Taking a look at the different wood variants, you can see that I got very creative with some of these, including custom models for some of the buttons. We have a little Titanic here, but different chairs. We have a non-working clock, another ship, and you can see the doors, all different types of doors. Mostly just whenever I needed a certain type of door and I found there was one that I didn't often use or one I didn't like very much, I went ahead and did that. Stripped wood I also used for a lot of different purposes. That's because you can orient it in different directions. So I've used it for wood panels that are only 1 block wide. And it's worked pretty well so far. I did a very large overhaul of that a few months ago, and I had to change a lot of things in my existing world. We also have some custom models for different pressure plates. So if we take a look here, you can see just a regular pressure plate that takes the planks model. But then some of the other ones, I put in custom models for ottomans. And I like the little touch that the model for an activated one has a lower cushion, like it's been pushed down. We have here also, this was just an experiment I did. It's a clock, supposed to be a working Minecraft clock. The only problem is that it doesn't stop running when you pause the game. So unless it's running in a server and the server is calibrated to the clock, it's never going to keep accurate time. I was mixing around with a few different clock ideas in this. I really like clocks and watches and wanted to try to bring that into Minecraft. For some of the shulker boxes, I came up with textures to work for non-working clocks. If we take a look at these, I did end up using 4 different shulker textures just to be able to make 3 different clock styles rather. But I wasn't really using the shulker boxes for anything else other than storage on occasion. So I didn't really care that much. The reason why I used shulker boxes was because they have a center texture. So if I made the outside of the main texture invisible, then it would look like you had slab or vertical slab blocks. They also orient in all 4 directions. Actually, they orient in 6 directions, though I never have a clock lying down or facing up. Let's see, here we have several different kinds of clocks. I thought that would be nice and handy. Other decorative elements, we have bookshelves that I made sure to texture. For the Roman texture pack, these were scroll shelves, so I had to go in and create these new textures. When it comes to the real clock in the game, this is also a somewhat recent addition. I went through and for the 64 different images of the Minecraft clock as it goes throughout the day, I created, well, actually 32 different images of the hands at different positions, which if we're doing a 24-hour day, 12-hour clock, that means that each image has the hands at positions separated by 22.5 minutes, which every 2 images, it's a difference of 45 minutes. Every 4 images, it's a difference of 1.5 hours. So it's not that difficult once you figure out the pattern. It did take a little while to draw the hands for 12 hours worth of positions. Other specific oriented blocks we have more glazed terracotta. This one I used a nice rouge de Rance along with a light marble color, which I used for the cobbled deep slate. That works well for walls and floors in palace building, especially in Versailles, which is where I developed it for. Taking a look at a few other things that we have in the texture pack. We have some more of the custom furniture. We have these two things, which are actually one item. I'll show you in a second what they are. It's a gate. We have here, see, activated, looks like a Victrola. We have a nice little keyboard instrument, which only works in one orientation. We have a gate that, see, looks like a banister going up. And I can have that in 4 different positions and also 4 different directions. Another gate that I have looking like wheels. This is all one gate. The difference is whether it's in wall or not. So you can see the different gates. That's a jungle fence gate, makes either the cabinet or the table. It's a demi-lune table. So if we set the gate up here and then we get rid of that and make it in wall, see, looks like a nice secretary's desk. Yeah, we got the different gates to make that. And we also have this acting as a nice bar, sometimes for architectural elements. I created it to make carriages and wagons. This is also a newer one, a blast furnace. The blast furnace didn't have a texture when this was a Roman texture pack, so it was still the default vanilla. And I targeted it because the blast furnace orients in 4 different directions, and for an architectural element that looks like half of a smooth sandstone slab and half that looks like a brick slab, which I've used plenty in my Versailles build. I thought I needed it to be able to orient in 4 different directions, so I decided to do the blast furnace, and I even made it look somewhat consistent with what the item is. So on the top, which in an architectural build, in a facade for a palace or something like that, you're not going to see the top. So I have a little fire going. And from the front, we do have that little door, but it also just looks like a design in the bricks or an anchor for the wall, something like that. It doesn't really matter. It's been so long since I've played in survival that I haven't used a blast furnace. So I'm having a hard time figuring out how to, there we go. So now it's activated. When it's activated, you can see a little bit of a glow from a fire there in the front, but unless you activate it, it doesn't look like that. It just looks like a brick face with a little bit of a flare or an embellishment on it. Some of the other textures I might change, like the dropper when it's not in the clavichord position, or the some of these other blocks, furnace. Looking at some of the functional blocks, we also can talk about the villagers. So this is basically a villager design that was from the Roman texture pack. I kept it for the baseline villager because I want to have a mix of, variation for the different villagers. We have a few different outfits. A lot of them things like this I thought looked like a housekeeper. A lot of these were kind of based off of Downton Abbey. We have here either a soldier or a footman at a palace, a guard at a palace. We have some farmers, stuff that just can be used for a lot of different purposes. We have here a footman, here a butler wearing a bowler hat. Not confined to any single time period, just different designs that can be useful for the different kinds of builds that I've done, palaces, stately houses. When it comes to other mobs, there aren't a whole lot of differences from the default vanilla. There are a few of the monsters that have retained the ancient Roman texture pack. I'm not going to show those off because I don't want it to seem like I'm taking any credit for them. I do like the way they look. Here we have a wandering trader. I also made the wandering trader look a little bit more like a woman, again, just to add a bit of um, diversity of how the villagers looked. If we take a look at some of the mobs, I believe that this is another one of the inherited ancient Roman ones, the squid here. There were, for the ancient Roman texture pack, cows, chicken, sheep, pigs, but in the past few updates, as the models have updated for those mobs, um, I've had to go back to the default vanilla. I have tried to change a couple of little things, most notably the eyes. I tried to make the eyes look a little bit more realistic and less beady. So that's my one of my contributions to this texture pack. I really like the way that the warm biome pig turned out there with the eyes. But most of the rest of the mobs are very similar or the same to the vanilla texture pack. And now if we go down the list of all the different textures and take a look at some other things. Copper, I did adjust the shade of the different variations of copper just a little bit, just to make them slightly more muted and fit with this color palette a little bit better. I also redid the texture for the copper fences, the copper bars. I like the way it turned out. It's nice and thin. I think it's very classy looking. And going back to our list, just subtle changes from the 16 pixel to 32 pixel. Most of this texture pack is at 32 pixels. Like I said, the paintings are actually 4 times that resolution, so 128. Some other fun things: magenta stained glass. I have, it looks like this, which is the texture for ice brought up to a 32 pixel resolution and made slightly lighter so it works for sky, like a painted sky. We have other stained glass here, works well for churches or some kind of Victorian build. Here we have some of the stripped wood, like I mentioned earlier, to make the panels at different orientations. Here are some of the copper blocks. I thought those would work well for columns in like a turn of the century Beaux-Arts building. These doors I was very proud of. I just adjusted the model for the upper half so that it was 2 blocks high instead of 1 block high. So it's not a true 3-block tall door. It's a hologram, the top part, but the same as some of the furniture models. I like the way it looks. Here we have a few of the stones. I did update sulfur and cinnabar. Nothing too crazy for those. What I was able to do with them, which really came in handy, were some more of these wall textures. The wall textures I use all the time in architectural elements. They add a nice bit of delicacy to my designs. I don't have to be as ham-fisted as when I'm using the regular blocks. And what especially helps with these is when I use the debug stick, which you just have to use a command to summon for yourself a debug stick. With that, you're able to adjust the connections of blocks like walls or glass. And see here, this I developed specifically to use in my Downton Abbey build, but it will also work very well in future medieval builds, or I'm going to do the Biltmore mansion, which is chateau-esque, and I think I'll be able to incorporate this in there. So we have that nice rouge de Reims, as well as that light gray marble, which is the cobbled Deepslate, with a nice little thinner. I don't think that it goes too crazy beyond the blockiness of the rest of this texture pack. And here we have another one of the sulfur walls, but it's smooth, which I think will work very well for nice smooth columns. And here, I'll show you something else. Some of the walls, I need to update it for all of them. I haven't quite figured it out yet. But you have it so that the inside section, it's not hollow. It's hollow when you don't have the tall wall selected, but when you do have the tall wall selected, see, that way you can have a nice little curve, a nice soft corner. It also works for making large columns. So that's been something that I use all the time. I'll keep going. Yes, when it comes to banners, uh, first let's talk about the candles. See, there are so many different colors of candles, and I never needed to use all those different colors. Even now, I still have a lot of candles that I don't really use. I mostly use yellow, white, and plain. These are different styles. For the 1 and 3, those are from another texture pack that I made sure to give credit to on Planet Minecraft. See, for some of these other candles, I decided to make the unlit versions different pieces of furniture, with 1, 2, 3, or 4 candles corresponding to the orientation of the furniture. But if you want to actually light those candles, well, you can do that and they turn back into candles. It's just for unlit candles of these different ones, like lime. When am I ever going to use a lime candle, or rather, an unlit lime candle? Because if I want it to be lit, I can do that and it's perfectly fine. It's no longer a couch. But what's great about these is that the hitbox is just the size of the candle. So you don't have to worry about filling a Minecraft living space with these and getting caught on the corners or just having it inhibit your ability to move around through a room. I think that these work great. You don't have to be sitting down in Minecraft. It doesn't give you any gameplay benefit. So as long as I can have these that look like nice pieces of interior furniture. I already talked about some of the different ores. When it comes to the banners, some of the notable ones I included, we have some from French and British Isles history. The French ones especially I use in my Versailles and the Palais Garnier, other things that were Napoleon. Well, Palais Garnier was Napoleon III, but so those all work for the historical aspects. They're pretty easy to change out if I ever want to do that, if I want to represent a different area, which is something I am thinking about in the future. I just want to finish Versailles and a couple other things first. More of the vestiges of the ancient Roman texture pack. Here we have some of the armor. This is diamond armor. I haven't gotten rid of this yet because I really like it and I find it very nostalgic. I remember it from when I first started playing Minecraft. I thought it was really cool. It's just been for a couple of different kinds of armor that I have changed them for architectural use. Here, I say like netherite. This is what the iron blocks look like. It looks like a white marble. And of course, you can change the poses of armor stands. So I can have these nice statues on the walls of the palace. It gives me a lot more options than just having the existing armors. Other changes have been for lighting. So we have soul lanterns, we have regular lanterns that I want to make look like a Tiffany lamp. The one on the ground may seem a little funny, so I'll show you what the intention was. It was one of the early models I came up with. I haven't changed it yet. I do kind of like it, but the idea was here you have a nice Tiffany lamp, see? Or you can make it a little bit shorter. So the bamboo fences also have that nice little element. We have redstone candles, so they either look like a candelabra on the wall or like a small lantern. We have the soul lantern, both on the wall and on the ground. We have the beacon. We have the end rod. The end rod on the wall currently looks like the soul torch, just because there was a glitch and I had to do a quick replace. I might change that in the future. A few other things I need to change in the future, like the copper torch that's on the ground. Copper torch on the wall looks like a nice street lamp. Copper lantern, it looks the same as vanilla right now, so I would like to change that in the future. Still working on it. Here you can see another use of the curved fence. Most of the vegetation changes have just been going from 16 to 32, and those are the ones that weren't already from the Roman texture pack updated. Signs, signs I just did, and I'll show you a couple of interesting little features that I have in here. So most of the signs, they look just like they look like there as items. But see, Acacia sign, you can have look like this nice stone panel on the wall or a medallion. It's very good for architectural builds. I developed it for Versailles. You can see also for usually indoor builds with bamboo. When it's on the wall, it looks like a nice round gold medallion. Here for a jungle sign, when it's on the wall, it looks like this nice bar, gold, that goes across. And for a slightly larger one, we have here. Sorry, this is the bamboo sign. It was the birch earlier. So those also come in handy when building inside or outside. I showed off some of the furniture. For the tools, some of them I had to create, like the copper or the netherite. Some buckets I've brought into 32 pixel resolution. We have some bundles. I haven't done all of the harnesses yet, or just the saddle, which I think came out very well. I need to, I'm still working on the discs. Some of the discs actually have custom music. I won't show that off just now, but that's also a work in progress still. And we already talked about the armor a little bit. A few other small things like some eggs, crossbow, I've updated the textures on. A lot of the food stuff was already from the Roman texture pack. I added copper coins because the Roman texture pack had these other colors of coins. I wanted to put a copper one in. And as we keep going, we have the pottery sherds. Yeah, we've pretty much covered most of what I've added to this texture pack. I hope that you enjoy it. Please also, again, understand that I did not start this texture pack. A lot of it was already done by Minecrafters before me. I've just made sure to update it with updates of the game. And of course, I've added plenty of my own stuff, but I really like it. I like the way it works for me. And let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any suggestions. and feel free to use this to your benefit, especially if you want to use one that has a little bit more cohesiveness across the different color options, the different wood options, because a lot of things were kind of done ad hoc. They were just, as I needed them. I didn't plan it out from the beginning. So thanks for watching. Check out some of my other videos. I'm getting very close to finishing Versailles. That's something that's very exciting, and I hope that you can join me for that. Thanks.